Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Terratech with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to hopefully a brief update video of the newest update to hit the Unstable branch, which honestly has added one of the best things to the game in a while. We now have alternate paint schemes for all of the different corporations. At the moment, we only have two for each, so we have the original and we have a brand new alternate, which, in the case of Better Future, looks really, really menacing. But honestly, this is a great step forward because it means paint modes in the future are certainly now more of a possibility. And just look at this thing! It looks so very evil, and I am going to be messing around with this quite a bit. So let's have a quick look-see at all the different paint schemes that we now have available. Then we'll get into the brand new items. We have some new weapons for Better Future, including the Plasma Flamethrower, which is no longer an experimental, but finally has found its home. It's been around for so long, it's bizarre to see it in the brand new corporation, but still, I'm happy that there are now more flamers for all. So then, let's have a look-see at the new paint schemes. So next up with the paint schemes, we have the Nomad. So the original Geocorp in its glorious yellow glory. And then we now have, if we go to paint mode and flood tech, there we go. It's now a rather bizarre looking orange, which honestly makes me feel like I'm playing some of the old construction games from back in the day. I mean the real life construction stuff, like Meccano and all that, because this really is the same colour scheme I've seen from things like that over and over again. I do really like it, but definitely prefer the original Geocorp. But it's great that we have the option, and of course we don't have to flood the entire thing every time we wish to use the paint scheme. We can simply go into the paint mode, which is down here in the bottom left, reskin tech, go to just regular paint mode, and we can have some of them yellow, some of them orange, and so on and so forth, which is lovely. Now there is grab mode. Oh, that just sends us back to the original mode. That makes complete sense. So that's Geocorp done. Now next is Venture. Well, here's the Venture tech I've used the most, but there is one particular Venture tech which should show off a brand new colour scheme a lot more, well, obviously, let's say. That is, if I can actually find the thing. There it is! My lovely little transport craft. I say little, probably one of the largest techs I own. So, let's go over to there. Original colours, and now the brand new colours. Once again, flood. Whoa, that is very vibrant. Did not expect luminescent pink. Pink, purple, pinky purple. It's, yeah, purple. It's more purple, very light purple. Anyway, I'm no good with colours, but you get the idea. This thing is kind of painful on the eyes, I've got to be honest. I like it, but wow, that is a very extreme paint colour. Let's quickly swap to a smaller tech, like one of our small planes, and give this another go, shall we? So once again, fill. Oh, that is not what I was expecting at all. As you can tell, I'm just seeing this for the first time myself, as I like this to be more of a first impressions thing, but wow. Also, why am I in car mode currently? Yep, this is going well. One more tech. I want to see one more tech. Okay, there we are. Once again, paint scheme, flood, and not so bad with this one, actually. So it seems like some blocks have got a more aggressive treatment with the new colour scheme. I like it, but it's just, yeah, it took me by surprise. So next up, we have one of my old tank builds, and let's see how Hawkeye now looks. If we go over to the brand new scheme, it looks like it's going to be a sort of desert camo. Yep, it's definitely a desert camo. So, initial impressions. I love the armor plates, I love the wheels, I love the weapons. Not a massive fan of things like the propellers. I feel like this will be really good in combination with its more natural colour. So let's go with the regular colour scheme, and then just paint the wheels and the weapons for a second. Just have a quick look-see at the contrast. A bit difficult to get the hitboxes when they're protected by armour, I have to say. Come on, let me get that one at the back, thank you. Otherwise that would have just annoyed me. I mean, build mode also exists, which makes things a lot easier, it has to be said. There we are. Oh, I really like that. Okay. I feel like this one I'm going to get a lot of use out of. In fact, it sort of reminds me of my first Imperial Guard army for 40k before I converted them into Traitor Guard. Anyway, the point is I had the whole desert camo theme going on with bits of metal, well, bits of steel. And yeah, that reminds me of it a lot. Really like that. Love it on the armor plates, love it on the wheels, love it on the weapons. Not so much a fan of it on things like the turbines, but yeah, big fan of that one. Next up then is GSO, and I believe the last one. And last, but hopefully not least, we have GSO! Wow! Okay! So, I'm getting Christmas vibes, I'm getting Soviet vibes, it's very, very, very shocking. It's... I don't know how I'm ever going to use this, but I'm sure I will at some stage. Wow. And of course, this is the tech from the recent campaign before we went into Better Future. That is not what I was expecting again. Well, if you wanted subtle changes, apparently this update is not for you. So, of all of them, I think my favourite is definitely Better Future. The new colour scheme with it, I think, works really well on its own. The others, I feel like... Other than Venture, I feel like they all work well with their original, but not so much on their own. I'm not saying that the Venture one doesn't work well with its original, just I can see craft made with the new colour scheme in mind. Maybe Geocorp as well, but yeah, that orange is a bit shocking. Well, hopefully we'll see more paint schemes in the future. I like all of them, honestly. Even if a couple of them I'm not quite sure how I'm going to use, I'm definitely going to try. So I think this is available in all modes except for multiplayer deathmatch. I may be wrong about that. You can always check the patch notes just in case. Really, really happy with this, though. I've been wanting a paint mode for the longest time, and I'm glad it's not just a matter of the whole thing has to be changed as well. So if you want a section, it looks like I'm just draining the colour from this. Yep, just draining the colour from this, and everything goes away. Now this looks weird. So, with that, let's get to the brand new items. Now, before we continue to the brand new items, a quick look at some of the items which have moved from the experimental tab over to their own corporations. Now, this is really good because it means in the campaign we can now craft these and get them on a more reliable basis. So I'm always happy to see things move over. And to begin with, we have the Geocorp Jettison Adjustment Thruster. So just a really powerful adjustment thruster. I've been using these occasionally on hovers, and it's great that we can now use them on a more reliable basis. They're heavy and they're powerful, and that's pretty much it. Next up with Venture, we have the dual autocannon, which was once experimental, but now, as you can see, is donning the correct colours, and more importantly, the Sonic Lance is finally Venture as well, which means we can really start messing around with this because we can actually use them properly, because we can get them on a more reliable basis. So, of course, the Sonic Lance is the point-blank weapon which can throw enemy techs away. If we go on over to the wheel blocks, we also have, if I can find it, there we are, the F1 wheels, which are now also Venture. And of course they were going to be Venture, I mean, it makes complete sense. Next up with Hawkeye, and also surprising me here, we do have the Plasma Jaws. I don't really know why this surprises me so much, but for some reason, I just expected these to be for one of the other corporations. Now I can see them. They are obviously for Hawkeye. But at the time, it was just a bit weird to see them have a plasma cutter. So these will be really, really awesome. Although, I've got to be honest, most likely I will use these mostly as sort of fake exhausts. Because that just looks so cool. Also with Hawkeye, and actually the last two items now, we have the Hunter Railgun, which is the railgun on a turret, which is a lot better than the original railgun in my opinion, although not as strong. Yeah, just being able to not have to always aim directly at the enemy is certainly worth it. And then we have the Flying Fortress Hoverpad, something which for some reason I thought may have been Geocorp. Apparently, I am just terrible at guessing where these things are going. And these are just incredibly powerful hoverpads. It's weird to see this tank fly. So with all that out of the way, let's have a look at the new items, which, let's face it, is probably the most fun aspect of this update, except for painting. Since we were using the tank earlier, let's use this as our base for the weapons. So then, to begin with, let's go over to Better Future, and we have two new weapons, which are the Better Future Claw Plasma Cutter and the Better Future Class D Laser Ray. So, I am now being hit by something, let's just ignore that for the time being, and let's test out the Plasma Cutter. Now, I believe the good thing with these, if I can actually place it correctly, come on, there we go. Yep, as you can see, they can actually aim, unlike a lot of the different plasma cutters. And apparently I can't place it there, which is a bit weird. There we are. Now apparently I can. So, it's a medium range, medium strength, but it has the ability to target the enemy, which of course makes it a lot easier to use, and I certainly approve of that. Strength-wise, it seems okay. Seems to be a bit weird with aiming. Yeah, so the aiming seems to be a little bit weird. Since we've been using the tank earlier, let's use the tank for the new weapon. So to begin with, we have the Better Future Claw Plasma Cutter. The Claw is a slimline plasma cutter with a medium range and moderate power. And most importantly, as you can see, it can actually aim at the target. And it looks really cool. Oh yeah, I am going to be using these loads. Now the question is, will this be stopped by shields? I think it probably will be, but I'll be happy if I'm proven wrong here, because I want to use this weapon a lot, and shields are the bane of everyone's existence. Unless you're the one using the shields. And fire! Nope, sadly blocked by shields, although that does look really, really cool. Wow, yeah, that looks amazing. Yeah, I'm going to be using that weapon a lot. So, sticking with Better Future, let's move on to the next weapon, which is the Better Future Class D Laser Ray. Let's pop that there as our new tank weapon. So apparently this is a very slow-firing weapon. I assume then it's going to be incredibly powerful, and hopefully it looks cool when it shoots. A heavy-duty, slow-firing, powerful laser cannon. It's also streamlined, so it looks nice whilst not being used. Yeah, okay, so it's only out right now because we're aiming, and fire! That's a slow shot! Okay, that's going to be really difficult to see in the video, so... yeah, it's a very slow-moving projectile. Seems to kill 1 block per shot, and I imagine it'll kill pretty much any block per shot. So we need a better test then. What would be best here? I guess... let's go against some of the turrets, because then we can see how much of the shield we obliterate per shot. I don't think I'll be using this just because I'm not a big fan of slow-firing weapons when they're not explosive. Okay, this one doesn't actually have a shield, but still. That first shot completely knocked off the side. Second shot incoming. Yep, knocked off something again. So it looks like one shot from this will pretty much obliterate most things it hits, but it's not going to do any collateral damage. So it's cool, it's nice, it's good. I'm just not going to use it personally. Wow, instantly knocked out the shield though. Never mind. I mean, if it does that much damage to shields, maybe it's worth it just to obliterate the enemy shield so other weapons can then do the damage. I'm okay with that. Yep, once again, okay, that's not bad at all. Maybe I will be using this, just not as a main weapon. I'm okay with that. Just checking the arc of fire for these weapons. Okay, not too bad. Fire again. Okay, that is much better than I expected. Lovely. So as long as it's in front of you, you will be hitting it. Okay then. Although the projectiles do seem to be massively affected by your speed, so if you're moving too quickly, these projectiles will likely miss the target. They just feel a bit underwhelming to use. I feel like they're going to be one of those weapons that are very efficient at one goal, but not general purpose. But when you get to use them correctly, they'll be amazing, but they'll never be a weapon I go to because of that reason. I prefer more general purpose weapons. Oh, there we go, the shields are now finally down. At least they were for a second. Of course, the brick, I believe, is constantly getting more energy. But still. So, yeah, good at knocking out shields. Good at long range, I assume. Can't see myself ever using them. Onwards to more weapons. So the next weapons are the Better Future Dot Laser, which I'm not going to spend too much time talking about. It's literally just a smaller version of these two weapons, although I definitely prefer this one over the others because it should be a lot easier to build with. So I'm happy to see that, just not much really to talk about, but yet definitely a great addition. Now with Experimental, we have something weird. So with this, it will shoot a projectile that will project a temporary gravity distortion bubble. Everything inside the bubble will experience 0 gravity. Yeah. So, I don't know what to say about this other than I love it. Imagine combining this with the anti-air weapon. The problem is, the enemies here are all anchored. Oh, except for the ones over there. Okay, let's go over there and test this out. And let's also add the anti-air weapon, just to see if this combo will actually work correctly. Let's put them up here. Doesn't really matter which way they're facing, because they can do a full twist anyway. So, let's give this a test. Okay, so I've restarted the game a little bit, because with this weapon, I've decided I'm going to do a separate video on it very, very soon. So all you need to know is that it's an anti-gravity weapon that does this. And anything which enters loses all gravity. I'm going to combine this with any weapon which causes knockback. So, new video about that soon. The last weapon before we move on to non-weapon items which have been added is this, the Better Future Dot Laser. This is the smaller version of the other assault lasers. There's not much really to talk about here. It's a really welcome addition. It's going to be way easier to build with than the other assault lasers, but other than that, it's just another laser, which apparently I've added weirdly. I've really messed up this thing's face. Either way though, nice addition, just nothing really to talk about. Now, to the brand new non-weapon items. So then, with the brand new items, outside of Better Future items, we have the Hawkeye and the Geocorp new explosive bolts. So for those who like to make multiple techs into one, these are now more options for that particular role. Now, moving on to Better Future, we now have the ability to see our altitude and to see how fast we're going, in addition to some new wheel types. We have the Better Future large straight halo wheel and the Better Future medium long halo wheel. There are also a few other movement types I'll get onto in just a second, but first, we do have this. We now finally have regular rotors for Better Future, and obviously I'm far more interested in this than the wheels. We have the Better Future medium rotor. So, let's just quickly swap over to helicopter so we can actually use this thing. And then let's give this a go. Has the same noise as the regular rotors, and as you can see in the bottom right, it has the helicopter controls just like the Hawkeye rotors, the larger rotors that is. And I believe that will also affect any ion drives attached, or actually any movement type. Let's find out if that's the case. Just remove the bottom section for a second. Let's replace that with you. Thank you very much. Yep, as you can see, that is indeed affecting the ion drive, so this will also act like the linear motion machine, in terms of changing how things control. I think it looks really, really cool. Kinda wish we had these before I built the skybase, honestly, because I would have these absolutely everywhere, and probably still will, because they're just amazing looking. So whilst we're in the air, let's talk about the whole sky rig things. We now have the air rig extenders. I believe these are for each size, yep, which means we can now alter the size of our air rig a little bit easier. Probably would be best to do this on the ground, wouldn't it? But you get the idea. It attaches like that, so you can extend one section so they don't always have to be a perfect circle. They can be oval or any shape you wish in terms of making them different shapes of ovals. You get the idea. So as you can see with the extender, it means we can make different shapes with this, which just will be really, really good. Once again, Better Future is proving to be the go-to for building pretty much any shape you want, especially with all these new additions. Definitely my favourite corporation. We also have the small rotor, which is adorable. We have the large boosters, and now we also have the large outside wings, which look absolutely amazing. And similar to the medium wings, they do have 3 attachment points, so they will still attach just fine to the central wing sections. There we are. They just look even better. And in fact, let's have a quick look-see with the new paint scheme, which I really should have been doing, I've just realised, for the other stuff, but still. Oh, that is beautiful. Well, we need to make a new plane. I actually love that it's kept the bit of blue in the middle. For some reason I thought I was going to go like a darker red, but I really like the contrast. Really, really happy with that. Same with the rotors, keeping that bit of blue is really nice. We're going to make some evil looking builds. So I think I've covered pretty much everything except for the fact there are now new sizes of Halo wheels in terms of the side wheels. And I think I may have missed one of the other wheel types. Because I don't know them too well, it's quite easy to forget. But essentially, there are now more options when it comes to the wheels. Really happy with that, even if personally I don't use them very much. If we ever do build a proper Better Future buggy, we now have way more options, which is lovely. Especially with the straight Halo wheels. These look really nice. So, with that, I'm afraid I am all out of time for today's video. If this feels a little bit rushed, it's because it kind of was, because I'm also recording something else right now, but the update just hit, and I really want to take a look at all the new items. I will be making a video very soon using the anti-grav weapon, because that's just going to be amazingly fun, and I will be using all the new items in the campaign and such. So, if you have enjoyed today's video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff, helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Terratech is a series you wish to see continued in the future. So tell me, what's your favourite new weapon? Because I'm curious. Of all the weapons, which one looks best? This one definitely looks the most derpy. Thank you, and goodbye.